Happy 2020. What's going on, guys? It's Eric. I think for 2020, I'm going to ask you guys if you would to please like the videos and comment and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I think that's the same as like. But anyways, I got this question a couple weeks ago. I thought it was good. I think that I wanted to talk about it anyways. The specific question was, hey, yo, I want to do car hauling, want it to be more of a passive business, probably meaning he doesn't want to be the driver and he wants to make money. Is it possible? Give me your thoughts. And I said I'd throw in my 2 cents. So here I go. So as far as the car hauling goes, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Pretty much like with anything, there's going to be something. It's really easy to find work that doesn't pay very good. And what I mean, and let me clarify what work that doesn't pay very good is. If you can't afford to pay a driver a fair and decent wage because you don't make enough money, then pretty much it's only for an owner operator and they got to work for just a little bit more than what they normally could make. There's lots of work like that out there, but to actually, in every industry, I would guess there's some work that you find that's not very good and some that is, and it might just depend on the season or stuff like that. But so I'm going to generalize it over trucking and I'm going to get into it. So basically what the topic is going to be is it possible to have a kind of like run your trucking business as like an investment? Like what I mean by that is like, let's say you want to buy a piece of real estate. You want it to appreciate and value over time. You don't want to spend a lot of time dealing with it, and you just want your money to make more money for you to keep on growing. So if you look at trucking from that standpoint, is it a good idea? Is it a good way of getting a return on your money, not on your labor? And I think it is. I think it's pretty crazy what you can do with small numbers. So for myself, I just bought my 6th truck at the end of last year, and it's actually a dump truck, which is kind of funny since I'm kind of against dump trucks. But anyways, I got a dump truck, and it's not because I'm not going to unsay anything that I said. It's for another video. I'm going to use the dump truck like a business card to do what I actually want to do. But lots of people want dump trucks, so I'm give them a dump truck. I have clients that have, everyone that I work for, they all always want dump trucks, so I figured I'd buy one. But anyways, so what I was basically saying is that you don't have to be super big for it to make a huge impact in your financial life. And I'm assuming a lot of times when people are talking about passively running a businesses, they make decent money at their job. They like what they do. They'd like to start something on the side. Maybe they have a family member that wants to drive, and they're going to give them an opportunity and make some money at the same time. And I think it's a great idea, and I think it's really possible. And I think if you talk to a lot of people about this, they'll laugh at you and say that it's not possible. But the biggest, in my opinion, this is very opinionated, but what you're going to need is you're going to need the endurance to stick with it long enough for it to make sense for you. Your mind has got to be in the place of the first year, you might break even, you might lose money, but over 5 years, your investment's going to be very good. And so as I get more and more successful, I get the question from people that know me like, oh, well, I'm thinking about trucking, or what do you think about this? Or it seems like you're doing really good for yourself. Like what do you recommend for me? This is just people in my area and stuff and friends and whatnot. And one of my really good buddies used to work for me in my lawn care company. He was really good, and the really good ones usually go off and do their own thing. And now he runs his own successful lawn care company, and his wife is, I don't know what she does, something with that in the medical field, and she makes good 6-figure income. And they're talking about buying a truck and investing. And I said, well, the numbers don't really sound that great. I mean, you're only going to make, I think I told her like $500 to $1,000 after you pay, your truck stuff and your fuel and all the expenses and your driver. And I said, it doesn't sound good, but I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, so you buy a $20,000 truck, because you don't need a $150,000 truck. Whatever, $20,000 truck's gonna break down just as same amount as a more expensive truck. So you buy a $20,000. Well, let's just say you buy a $50,000 truck. You buy a $50,000 truck. The truck grosses in my area $1,000, and then he'd be working for me, and I charge 20% for the truck, and for the job I charge 10%, and then I charge 10% for a trailer, but they can buy their own trailer if they want. So if that driver grosses $1,000 a day, then he's going to make $800, and then he's got all of his stuff on top of that. But basically, I say at the end of the week, after all the BS is out of it, you're going to make, depending on how good the driver is and breakdowns and stuff, $500 to $1,000 a week, which is going to be, let's just say it's $500 a week. That is $2,000 a month, which is $24,000 a year. Let's say that you buy a $50,000 truck, you put 10% down, so that means you put $5,000 down, and you make payments on the truck. So you have $5,000 invested, and at the end of the year, worst case scenario, which isn't the worst case, but I'm just, whatever, just don't hold me to it. But basically, if you have a good driver and he works fairly decent and the whole 9 yards that I just explained, the business could net $500, should be able to net fairly easily $500 a week, which does not sound exciting. But then you ask yourself, where can I put $5,000 into a business to get started, hire a driver, have Eric do the dispatching, and really have no job, and then at the end of the year, net $24,000. And it's hard to find that in real estate. It's really hard to find that in real estate. Now, over time, I'm not getting into a debate about real estate. I think it's a great idea. I want to do it. Blah, blah, blah. That's just another thing. But we're just talking about passive income and trucking. Now, how many trucks do you need doing that for it to make sense? Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Now for me, so most likely that's the situation that someone's going to be in when they're talking about passive income. Is it in trucking? It's going to be, leasing on to somebody, and then leasing onto them. They're finding the work, and all you do is basically provide the truck and a driver. And I feel like it's super simple. I mean, because what I do, I feel like every year is getting more and more simple. But I mean, even for me, so for me, I find the jobs and the clients, and then the clients call me, and then I make sure that I commit to the work, and then I make sure that we actually are there, which is a very I'm not trying to make my job sound hard, but it's very stressful for me because if I commit to something, now I'm relying on other people, and if they can actually do what they say they're going to do, which is and then a lot of times I'm overcommitting myself and saying yes to multiple clients, which then I'm betting on one client's gonna say that, well, we don't need as many trucks this day or whatever, and it actually usually works out. But even with what I do, it's very, you can hear my cats growling at my two dogs. I have two German Shepherds, and I have this little black cat. And my wife is grabbing the cat, trying to, but it's not going to work, so. But anyways, so even at the level that I do it at, I can go on a trip or leave or do whatever I want, really. And I don't have to tell my drivers that I'm leaving. I don't have to tell my clients that I'm leaving. I guess who else would I tell at this point? So I can just leave and I can run my business from wherever I want to run it from. Are you serious? Get down. So I can run the business from wherever I want, and no one even knows that I'm gone, which that is really good. That's what you want to do. Now, I do sometimes tell people that I'm gone or whatever, but the point is that I do leave and I don't. Now, I'm going to be going somewhere where I'm not going to have cell phone service, so then it's kind of hard to not. I mean, I'm always on the phone, so that kind of, so it's not like I'm just doing nothing, but I have lots of freedom and lots of time to do whatever it is I want to do, and I think it's worth it. But a lot of it comes down to the beginning of the video and how much debt you have and, stuff like that. If you want to, I think the way to be successful at it on a small scale like I am is if you don't have huge amounts of debt in all of your equipment, which takes time to get to that point. But so that's, I said what I needed to say. That's my 2 cents. Now basically I just reiterate is, so not me, not somebody that has a small fleet and runs their own authority and has their own trailers and has their own clients and stuff like that. Now, if we're just talking about leasing on to like a mega carrier or like which could be a car hauling carrier, like I used to be a sub hauler. Well, I am a sub hauler. I still have my numbers for Sierra Mountain, which is a car hauling company. So you just call them up and tell them you want loads, and as long as your insurance is still in, you're good to go. But if you just want to do that and work somebody else's freight, and then when you're not there, just call them and say, hey, I'm not going to be there, and then they're going to be like, are you serious? And then they have to figure out the problems. I really don't see why it's that hard to buy a truck and find a driver that's going to take care. As long as you can find somebody that's reliable and is going to show up and care about their job, to put somebody in your truck. And then, one of the guys that works with me, he parks a ways away from where we operate out of, and he just parks for free at a mechanic shop. And I'm not even involved in the decisions on what needs to get done with the truck, but that takes some time after a while. But once you know that you have somebody that, it's just like, if it's like over a $1,500 repair, they're gonna call and let me know. But otherwise, it's like, just do it. He's in control of the truck. He's maintaining it. Then you don't have a driver calling you and saying, well, this is not getting done and they're not doing it. Well, he can find out that the shops are busy and they can't get you in right away, and then he can explain that to me, which is awesome. So, there's just little things where then I can be like, well, why isn't the truck done? Well, it's not done because I already know why the truck's not done. because it's, it takes time to do things that aren't super important and that are just the driver wants done or whatever. So then you just kind of put it on them. So I think it's a great idea. One thing that I will say, the guy that asked the question wants to do car hauling. Out of everything that I know, I would be the most leery about putting a driver in a truck to haul cars, because of, if you're talking new cars, there's so much scandalous things that happen with the damages on them. And even like when somebody is fully responsible, like when I'm myself driving and I'm fully responsible for the damage, it's scary and a problem. And I mean, it's scandalous what the dealerships do to the trucking companies. And then, like, for example, I can talk about Sierra Mountain. They don't really fight for you because they just pass the money on to you and they don't care. So, and you could, I mean, there's a scratch it costs retail to fix a scratch. And then it's almost like extortion, like, hey, the dealership has a body shop and now it costs $5,000 to fix a $50 scratch. They don't cut you a break. So, and if you actually did something really bad or missed something, that that's a tough one to swallow. So I have no problem letting anybody get in my trucks and giving it a whirl. With car hauling, I would be very careful, and I think that it's worth it. There's people that do it, and I encourage you to try it. But I'm just saying, out of everything, gotta make sure for sure that you get a driver in there that's gonna respect the fact that you can go backwards in a hurry. So, all right, hope that helped. Thanks, guys. If you guys are still watching this video, hopefully you've got what you came for. So I wanted to I watched the video, and I'm judging myself on what I was saying, and I wanted to say a couple of things. And I made a video on this, I don't know what it was titled, but something that basically goes kind of a different direction in what I'm talking about here. But for it to be possible to do what I do, which is like passively, and I'm not saying that I do run a passive business. I am very involved. I want to be involved. I like it a lot. I like the trucking business a lot. I'm into it. I want to continue to grow it, and it's something that I'm passionate about. But in order for it to be passive for you, you have to have systems in place. And for me, my main component of my business is I'm the first call from a client to the problem, and like the client's call, and then I figure out a way of doing the dispatching. So I can dispatch from anywhere that I have cell phone service from. Now, I drive. I know how to fix things, but my goal isn't to know and be and do everything. So I try to not deal with any maintenance unless it's my last option. Then I will go out and I'll try to figure out a problem. But like there was a time when I didn't want to pay someone to go out and put a tire on, so then I'd stop everything that I was doing and go put a tire on. Now, you just call somebody and they go put a tire on. So you might get a phone call and you say, I'm broke down on the side of the road. Well, that doesn't mean I have to run out there. It means that I have to figure out how to get that truck off the side of the road. We have an office person, my wife and me. So my wife manages the office person, but she isn't the office person. My wife does payroll and stuff like that. So like when we're gone, invoices are still getting invoiced. Money is still coming in. The business is running as if we're still here. I mean, we're in contact and stuff like that, but it's not like, they're managing themselves, and we're just whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to say, but so I'm not the first guy that does the maintenance on the trucks. I'm not the guy that repairs the trucks. I'm not the office person. So all that stuff, and there's got to be a system for you not losing a driver or the driver being so pissed off because they had a simple problem and no one ever took care of them, and they're out stranded on the road at 7:30 at night on a Friday. You got to figure out a way to get these guys off the road and to a hotel if they're over the road or whatever it is. You got to scramble to do that kind of stuff. You have to have the systems in place. I'm not just saying it just happens. So I wanted to say that, and then I also wanted to say that when I first got started in trucking, I still did the lawn care, and I wanted it to be a passive stream of income. So I didn't want to be the guy driving in the truck, stuck in the truck, and stuff like that. And I would encourage you guys to get your CDLs, to be the driver, to be the backup, so that if something happens and you can go do something, or you're not just handcuffed to not being able to be hands-on if you need to be. And then, like, for me, I found out that I like it. I really enjoy driving. So, that's a big part of my job is driving. I put my headset on, I do my dispatching while I'm driving. It's a great place to meet other drivers that you might want to work for you. If your driver is jerking you around and they're not being productive and they're saying that there's no way, the rate's got to be up, it's got to be more. No, you need to just produce. Sometimes it's hard to figure that stuff out unless you are more hands-on. So I just wanted to say that as well, and hopefully you enjoy. Thanks.